Did you know that Hatha Yoga could be used to assist you to detoxify? In last week's episode, we looked at the benefits of detoxing, which included weight loss, stress relief, uh, decrease in anxiety, better immune system, and a greater connection to yourself, your truth, and your highest purpose. And Hatha Yoga can also be used to utilize. Today, we're with Jose Troche. I just want to make sure I'm pronouncing. I speak French. My French was my second language, and now I'm speaking Spanish. So, Jose
Troche.
He says it. Oh my God, sexy is that voice? Oh my God. And we're on Blaze, a place where we look at different tips, tools, teachings, and techniques from across the traditions to help you to embrace your woo and go deeper into it, to share it with the world in the ways that are perfect for you. I'm Suryakrishna, your host, and this is Jose. He's a master Hatha Yoga instructor, and he's one of the facilitators of our MBS Detoxify retreat that we're going to be holding in probably July 17th. We're changing the dates because of the weather here in Playa del Carmen. So stay tuned for that. But this is Jose. So thank you for coming, Jose.
Thank you.
And tell us about Jose. Who's Jose?
Well, I'm a yoga practitioner and teacher. I've been practicing yoga for 16 years already. I started quite young when I was 19. And I went through like the path of the Hatha Yoga, trying there are like different methods that came out of Hatha Yoga. And finally ended up like practicing Ashtanga for over 10 years. And that's what like the most I teach, and it's what I practice. But I also have been helping people through all the path that I've been taking, like through Hatha Yoga and breath work and stuff. How to do stuff like restorative or like specify for something that you're gonna work on.
Right.
And yeah.
Can you tell us what Ashtanga is?
Well, Ashtanga Yoga is a method that came from like let's call it like the Hatha Yoga tradition, because like it does a lot of asanas. So in the Ashtanga tradition, there is like this sequence that is it's pre-established, and you learn it like step by step. Whenever like we gather to practice Ashtanga, we gather as a community, but everyone's like doing this sequence at their own pace. Or like if you have been practicing for a year, of course like your practice won't be the same for that person that is like starting today. So that's like the benefit of the Ashtanga is that like you actually are learning like the self practice will help you also like to lose all of this kind of like learning that we've been taught, because there's like not advanced, like not like somebody that is like there are no labels. It's like it just like it counts how much do you go to class, how long have you been there, how much commitment, and then you go through but there's like no goal there. Like you don't have to finish any of these like sequences. It's a practice for life. Yeah, it looks pretty physical, let's call it, but it's way more than that. It's like it's transformative and gives you like all the things that you just mentioned before, like the benefits. It's like really what's there to like it takes you through a journey of self-knowledge, basically, which is like a great tool to connect with us and with ourselves.
Sounds very individual.
So it does, but though like one of like the things that characterize like the Ashtanga practice is like community, because like we all gather, but like we're all individuals like sharing, and like I think like to work in a community, like we also need to work on ourselves, like through like that way, like that sounds individual, maybe loose, but like if you go deeper on it, like you will understand like this sense like we gather to do this. It's like we gather to do like this morning ritual because it usually practice like in early morning, like really early. It's like between 5 and 8. It's like what time you like starting to come to the shower. But this is like what I personally do. But I've been like also trained and I've been like practicing other like yoga methods. And I think like you have like so many ones because there is like no that one for you, like you have all of them there. Like you go and try, take some time there, see what suits you better for you. It's not when how you find like what's your path there, like the yoga path, some way.
Nice, beautiful. You mentioned that you started when you were 19.
Yeah.
How? Wow.
Why? I was in the process. I was like looking. I was like doing press.
Yeah.
So like when I was like in therapy and like the therapist like somehow like came out, like kind of I was like dealing with a lot of anxiety and I was like also like having some pressure because it was like I was 19, I was at university as well, like all this drama, curse, and like dealing with an addiction and yeah, and I found like a therapist, I was like doing working with special psychologists, helping people like in rehab, like not being in a place. And she suggested me to go to therapy, to yoga, for maybe help you. She was like, I don't really know. I haven't been there, and like it's not something that you really have to do. It's just like something that I heard. Maybe like you actually like to move to do something. It looks like they do way more than just like sit there. And but yeah, basically like the first class, I went like next week after she suggests that because somehow that next day, like my mom came with the yoga flyer and she was like afterward and she's like, I don't know, like it seems like my friend, like a friend from high school, or my mom, she was like, he's been doing yoga and like seems like they're doing well. Like I don't know, well, like people trying to help me. I was like really appreciated. So like I finally went to yoga next week and like yeah, first class pretty much was like yeah, we didn't do much, but for me there was something like connecting with the breath, with like what like the teacher was like saying about like being present, but then like I was like like whenever like we are anxious, it's like we're never present. Get to that point, we're like trying to go somewhere when we're not yet.
Yeah. Yes.
And I was 19. I was really young. Like everybody else in the class were like over 50. So I was like this new kid, like a little kid, in class. So it was like a really nice environment for me because I needed to be cuddle. I don't know. I was like going through the process, and that's how like I started. So I started like once a week the first month, and then I started to go a little bit more. Then like the teacher said, like I think you need to do something when you move more, because like you're young, you have like bodies and stuff. So he suggested me to go to like this other city pretty close to my home in Argentina, and I went there and I took a couple of classes and yeah, we were moving more. And then like this scene like kind of like it kind of got me at that point, not only because I was like connecting with me, with my breathing, with my body, but also then I saw like we were like having some fun. Come on, I was 19. So I got hooked like really easily. And for me, like discipline was not a thing because when I was young, I used to swim I did it for ages. I went to like competitions and stuff. So like to commit to something like that, like it was actually making me feel good, like making me getting like in touch with this body that we're carrying through this dimension we are now,
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's how and then I started to explore. I still kept coming to this guy who I started yoga with, and I left Argentina in 2011,
Oh,
and I was like 21st,
21?
21, yeah. And I was 21. I left Argentina and I went to travel around South America. And in Peru, I traveled with a girl that she was like doing this like core power yoga. Like it was like too much power for me at that time, but it was fun. As it was young, like discovering that my body could go like a little bit farther, deeper. I don't know, taking me to new places in like same time that my body was accessing to these new places. Also, like my mind was being like more like flexible, and I was like being more determined when I have to like take a choice, make a decision, because also I was like getting some strength, whatever like we do here with this vehicle, like it makes a change and impact on the inside as well.
It really does.
Yeah.
It really does. So what it sounds like to me is you went from having an addiction to being overwhelmed to having anxiety. Found yoga on the basis of somebody of a counselor who suggested it. And it's fun. And the changes began to occur. You began to get more empowered. You began to get more connected to yourself, more into your truth. And that completely makes sense, right? Because my understanding of Hatha Yoga is it's about actually moving the chakras. You're developing, and yoga means weaving. So what we're doing,
it's like it's moving energy.
Yeah.
It's moving energy.
Yeah.
And
so what we're weaving in is the divine, bringing the divine essence in and weaving it into our everyday lives. And Hatha Yoga is a great way of bringing the divine into our chakras and into our aura and into our physical form, where it already exists, but it's about awakening it even more, in my experience. And it sounds like that is what is going on for you. I want to go back to your swimming, because I used to be a swimmer too. What was your stroke?
What's the stroke? Like a hard thing to do?
No. What was the stroke that you were best at?
Oh, I don't know what's the name in English, but like when you
backstroke?
Yeah.
That was mine too.
Yeah.
My stroke was backstroke as well. Part of it was because I was so short, and so then when I dove into I didn't have to like dive into the water. Exactly. It was just go like that.
Yeah.
So it was more than
like,
even
I'm short for like for being for Argentinian side, it's hate that anyway,
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was like kind of like easy for me, like.
Yeah. So you said you were traveling South America. Where else have you traveled?
Well, when I was 16, I went on exchange to Australia. I spent 12 months there. I went to school, like finished high school there, and
where in Australia?
In Melbourne.
In Melbourne.
Yeah. And that was like the first time that I traveled by myself, or like far from home, like.
Ooh.
And I was young, like I was 16, that was like first time like living with my parents for a long time, and coming somewhere else, like different language, and yeah, I'm like, and I thought, like it was gonna be easy, but like also that was like when kind of like transformation like started, because I think that also like traveling is a big impact like in everybody's life, and I'm like I felt like so privileged that I had like the opportunities to do it, like somehow that God, the universe, like brought that opportunity to me, because I don't come from like a rich place, so like my parents could never afford, like I just like these people came up to school, and I was like, yeah, like I'm leaving this place, when they come and say and offering like scholarship, I was like, yeah, I'm coming for that, and that's mine, that was like, but if I go back to in time, like I was like, that was like the first time that I really like manifested something with like a really strong willpower, because like months after that day that I said like, yeah, that's scholarship, it's mine, it was mine.
It's yours, and you manifested it, and you got to live in Australia at the age of 16. Phenomenal. That's amazing. So good.
And
so, I spent some time in Australia as well. I went for 11 days. I ended up staying 11 years. But that's another story. I'll share that story another time. But I love Australia. It's actually where my spiritual teacher lives. And Yeah, so I've had big transformative experiences in Australia as well. I thought I heard you say you've been to India.
I've been to India as well.
Been to India.
Mhm.
Tell us about that.
Well, like I've been like doing yoga for a long time, and
How old do you know?
I'm 34.
34. So he started when he was 19 and he's now 34. Yeah.
Yeah, it's half of my life. Whenever I feel it, like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Sometimes, like I wonder to myself, it's like, uh, how I have never like procrastinated like in so long, because it's hard to take something like for that long. But then whenever like I'm there, like on my mat, like doing my practice, like just breathing and moving, like gaining space or just like meditating while I move, and it's like, oh wow, yeah.
And do you do it every day?
I do it like 6 days.
6 days a
I
week.
always take one day like to rest. Like when I used to train, like it was the same thing. Like we were like training for 5 days, and I mean when I was swimming, like one day taking it easy too, and then one day for like rest. And like it's kind of like what the Ashtanga yoga tradition says, that you gotta practice like 6 days a week and rest one. Also, like if my body tells me like, rest like these 2 weekend days, like I will rest those 2 weekend days, but like, yeah, but like most of the years that I've been doing this, I've been doing like 6 days a week.
Right.
But not with expectations, sometimes I just come to my mat and I'm there for like the first 10-15 minutes, and not every day is the same, even though if like the practice, like you see this chart and it's like, oh, I'm boring to do every day the same thing. But no, it's like through repetition, we also learn a lot of stuff. Through repetition, we are actually able like to be what will be the what like to be aware of what we are doing there, and to like to deepen on that process, because like we're facing there, doing the same thing every day. And maybe we've got like a wrong concept of what a routine means nowadays, because it will, like you do this routine, but if you're doing a routine, that you're doing it for you, for your wellness, for your well-being, like you shouldn't be like even like asking yourself, it's the same thing, how boring, but like we got all these like distractions in this world, that somehow this will be better, or like like that practice that last 2 hours is better than that one that lasted like 15 minutes. And I'm like always like telling my kids or my students, like if you show up, that's more than enough, just being there, just like unrolling your mat and sit down and take 5 breaths. It's just like, how huge is that you're taking at least those 10 minutes for you? You know how many people in this world do not?
Yes.
So that doesn't matter, I encourage people just to come and show up. As him as you are, like we don't need like to be flexible or anything. All these like things that we're like all like flash with like all these crazy yoga poses around, legs behind head. Yeah, I'm guilty too. Like,
yeah, I've seen your Instagram.
Yeah, but but that's not also, like that's a practice that we've been talking. Like I've been doing it for a couple of years. That's how you get there. Maybe for some other people it'll be a shorter time. Maybe for some other people it won't be in this life.
Right?
It doesn't matter. Like just like going on the path, like exploring, being able to gain like self-knowledge and a tool to connect with our inner being. Isn't it like
that's the goal of Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, which are the 5 main branches of yoga. It's about know thyself. And that's what's important. And what you mentioned about the repetition is prevalent through all those branches. Yeah. It's the repetition that's important. So if you know what a mala is, there's 108 on a mala. And the idea is that you say one thing 108 times. That repetition. Our soul likes repetition, even though our personalities, our egos might get bored, or the distractions that you were talking about.
On cycles, you know,
Cycles. Yeah.
for everything. It's like we go through, like, even though, like, yeah, we will repeat, like, nothing is like goes this way. It's not like linear, the path is not linear.
You're saying nothing is straight?
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say, but like, yeah, nothing's linear. Yeah, but like, life, our spiritual practice, like, also have like up and downs, you know, whatever your spiritual practice is.
Are you familiar with the Gayatri Mantra?
The Gayatri Mantra, yeah.
Yes. So if you know the story behind the Gayatri Mantra, the king who was trying to become enlightened went into a cave, up into a mountain, and he kept getting distracted. So he kept going back to his regular life, and then kept going, oh, what am I supposed to be doing? I'm supposed to be meditating. And so that's symbolic of our paths and of our journeys. So this distraction is part of the path. It's part of the testing. It's a thing.
Like, how boring will be, like, you know, the path if we don't face like any kind of challenge, you know.
Exactly.
And, like, we should be taking things as just that, just take things, you know, look for like the deeper learning of that thing you're facing, that challenge you're facing. In these like word, like, we tend to just judge like stuff as like good, bad, 0, 10, blah blah, you know.
Yeah.
And like whenever like we get too familiar with those tags, we end up like also judging ourselves, you know. Like facing, like, you know, like I face this challenge, and instead of thinking, you know, like, yeah, it would take me some time, like, to climb this rock and get to the other way, but we want it now.
We want instant gratification, we call it in English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we want it now, but like, yeah, like, we do not give ourselves the time to do so, you know. And like, I think whenever like we refer like whatever like our spiritual practice is, you know, we first of all like to be committed, as like, doesn't matter how much you commit, but like that time that you give it to it, give it with commitment. Like, we need to be patient, you know. Instant gratification, instant. It's only, I don't know, WhatsApp message. What else is instant, you know? But yeah.
Sure. Well, this is all very fascinating. I'd love to go deeper into this with you, maybe in another episode. Yeah. And we're talking about the detoxification, the MBS detoxification retreat. So can you tell me about your journey with detoxification? What detoxification means to you?
Well, my journey with detoxification, it's like not deep journey as yours, for example, but like, I started, like, as I told you, you know, to connect with my body when after like feeling all this pain, like after a couple of years to a committed yoga practice, like, of course, like, then you see, yes, like, my body can go to new places and stuff, but also you start to feel these things on the inside, so you start to question yourself, and like, and what are you like eating, what am I doing, you know, who am I spending my time with, you know, because we are not only talking about, I mean, for me, like, it's just also not to be like in toxic environments, you know, like to not be like people like, I don't know, take your time or whatever, you know, like to be surrounded like in a place where I feel safe, and for me that's also important.
Yeah. And so the energetics behind
yes. Because after when we do move energy, whenever we do this practice, and yeah, and of course, after some time, like when you start to connect with that inner being, you know, like, yeah, also like thinking like, where's my food coming from? So that's when you start to change like a little bit your diet, you know, like, I'm not like really strict. I know I should be more aware. But yeah, I try to have like a most like plant-based diet, and yeah, it goes with like this. With like life, you know, with afternoons. But yeah, but also like try to like not be like eating a lot of things have like in these big franchises where we have no idea where food is coming from, how many things they are like putting into it, and stuff like that. That we are all aware of like nowadays. It's just things. Just Google it. It's not-
How do you utilize your yoga practice for detox?
Well, like through this yoga practice, as I mentioned before, it looks really physical,
Uh-huh. Yep.
and it has like specifically like in the Ashtanga practice we use the breath. I try to use it whenever like I'm teaching yoga as the people is not able to. That it's through the nose. I don't know the name of this little thing we have in the jar that we kind of like close it when we're like fogging a mirror. If we have that close, but we still breathe in and out through the nose, you will see that your body starts to kind of hit. Like even if you're not moving, if you're like sitting like this, we take a couple, breathe with sound, using the correct lock on our chart, and you will see that your hands will be starting to sweat because like this keeps our body warm. So that's like when our blood starts to be warm as well.
Can you show us now?
We start to yeah.
Why don't you show us now?
But let me finish with the
Okay,
case, so
okay,
I
okay.
go to the point, and then we'll do the breath. And so whenever like we start to move and our blood is like really hot, we move all this. It's moving around. It's going through all our organs, and of course we will start to sweat. And through like releasing all these toxins, it's like when like this process of detox also comes.
Okay.
Then you have like specific like movements yoga that will help you to detoxify, like specific like movement we do, like so we will pressing, I don't know, on the liver, on the kidneys. And yeah, it's a mix of both, but like through like releasing all that we release through sweat. It's like especially with this weather we do have here in the Caribbean, that when we move through the breath through the sequence of the practice, we get the chance like to at least clean and take out all the things. Like, and you see it, like if you had a glass of wine last night, of course, like my practice won't be the same like this morning.
Yeah, I do know. Yeah. So you're gonna make a sweat.
I'm just gonna show you the breath because you can start like doing it, So the breath that we use in this practice, it will be inhaling and exhaling through the nose, trying to not have any pause or retention between the inhale and exhale, and also being aware that we'll be closing the jar. Like we can start like breathing through the mouth. So if we have, I don't know the correct word in English, like whenever like we fog, I mean, what's up?
Yeah.
So if we think of that, we can just like put our palm facing your face and like and exhale, like as if we would fog in your palm. And try to inhale the same way.
So are you doing it now?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone. All right. So assume the position, which is
It will be just like an upright position on your back.
Okay.
Feels better for you.
Upright position.
Yes.
And then take your hand, put it in front of your face.
Yes. And remember that we'll be breathing in and out through the nose and being really aware of keeping these things that we will do with our dry moment. Okay. Okay. So first, like, if this was a glass or a mirror, just like leave it, yes. And then exhale and forget that, Inhale, same way, keeping that thing on your jaw. Exhale. Inhale. Close your mouth, exhale through nose, keeping the jaw. Inhale, same way. Exhale, trying to make pauses. And maybe our jaw will be feeling funky because of course we'll start cleans a little bit there. But I don't know if you're able to hear, but you should be able to hear your breathing. Like every time you inhale and have that sensation on your jaw that you have the control. So then start looking for like deeper inhalations, also keeping that blood. and expanding on the upper area of the torso. Like really using the diaphragm. Contract when you exhale, and means that the body doesn't collapse. Right? Keep a couple of rounds. We'll start to feel like the body hits a little bit.
Mhm. And then that sweating is the detoxification process.
Exactly, because we'll do this breathing by moving through sun salutation, through like standing asthma. So it's like, yes, you do like here in the Caribbean, like, it's like 2 sun salutations, you're already dripping. Say,
big fan of sun salutations. It's Surya Namaskar.
yeah.
So salute to the sun. I love it. I love it. I love it. Brilliant.
It always reminds me, yeah, like, you know, Surya, it's like, yeah, Surya Namaskar.
So that was fantastic. Thank you. So will you be sharing that with us during the retreat with the participants?
Yes, yep. I'll be sharing that and more like a little sequence like specialized like to being moving and help like with also with the diet that you guys will be providing at the retreat. To help like to cleanse and to take out all these things that we didn't need, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So you'll be assisting so the techniques like that, as well as the body movement, is what is going to be assisting and not just accessing, but accelerating the detox process to help people with detox.
Yeah, I mean it's just a good like just to cleanse, you know, because like many people is like taking care of like what we're eating so many times, like having like really nice diets on like to move that energy on us and to be aware of like letting it go all of that things that are not worth it here.
Yeah, I do know. I do know. Yes.
And like as you asked like before, it's not only like for me, like it's not only the physical things we detox, it's also like working inside on our like our soul, you know, like facing things that will come whenever like we're moving ourselves. You know?
Yeah. Yes, I do know. I do know. It's amazing. That's why we're so we, the royal we, are so excited to have you at the retreat. It's gonna be wonderful. So with Caleb focusing on like the physical and the food and the devices that we have around the place where we are right now, you with the yoga and focusing on physical as well as some of the etheric, the chakras, the auras, and then with me focusing on. Do we have a visitor?
We do.
What do we have?
It's a bird.
It's a bird. We have a visitor. Aren't we lucky? With me focusing on the etheric, so the chakras and the aura, as well as the astral, so that we can connect more deeply with the soul. I think it's a powerful combination. And so it's going to be a wonderful 5 days for people to come to Playa de Carmen in the physical to experience practical things that they're going to be able to take home with them and do after the retreat is over, as well as experiencing some of the different places around Playa that are magical. There's a lot of magic.
So let's talk about the energy that it's present in this place.
Yeah.
You know, like somehow like people from all over like we end up here and yeah, there's special energy under the Yucatan Peninsula.
The Yucatan, I love it, and the beauty here.
As well.
The jungle, the color of the sea. It's a very
like really
the cenotes. Yeah, amazing. You have a free gift for people?
Oh, yes, I do
yes?
have a free gift. People.
What do you got?
I got like a 20-minute class. Well, I teach you how to read properly and do like some basic moves for beginners, so we can encourage yourself to move a little bit and start on a new journey or a new path, or at least explore it.
Sounds amazing.
It's like a prep, like it would be like a warm up for you, or you're coming to our retreat, your retreat.
Our retreat. It's our retreat.
Like,
yes.
Doing this in like
yeah, exactly.
yeah, maybe like a warm up, or just like at least for those that are not familiar, like just to have a look up, like what am I expecting to do, or like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so it sounds like it's going to be a great opportunity for people to get a taste and flavor of your style of yoga, as well as great prep for the retreat itself. So how often would you recommend that people do that?
talk about this
We
before.
talked about it before, yeah. A bit of a
Like,
setup.
of course, I will say, like if you talk to me, I would recommend you to go, at least to sit and bring it on your mat, like 6 days a week. Like
6 days
if
a
you have
week.
like 7 days, just take one for rest. Maybe also an intro practice, meditation also. But yeah, like go there like 6 days a week. If it's not on your, if you can't do it now 6 days, like at least it's like prep some, take some time, prepare some space to give yourself time, like once a week. Maybe then it gets better and you can go 3 times a week until you get there. But yeah, I will say that like for like any process, if we really want to go through it, we have to be present. So that's why like I'm encourage people to go there and to experience like 6 days a week. Because of course it won't be the same if you want to go one, or if you just show up once a month. And also to remind people that like we're doing this for ourselves.
Yeah. It's like what you were saying about the repetition. I think these things are spiritual practices, not spiritual one-offs. So in fact, the more that we're able to do it, the better. And again, I mean, we do what we can when we can. So do what's right for you, with the goal of doing this practice at least 6 days a week. Yeah.
Oh,
That's your master advice. Yeah. So I just noticed the time, so we've got to wrap up soon. So I'm wondering, is there anything else, any other bit of wisdom you'd love to share with the people who are listening?
oh. No, just to be like whatever like we're doing, like do it with love, and like being content of that thing. Just like not happy, content of doing that thing we're doing. Like to have an intention for whatever we are, whatever path you are, just set an intention if you want to get somewhere, and believe in that, because we're able to manifest. Yes.
Yeah.
But sometimes we get to points like I never thought that I was gonna be here in this present moment. But yeah, here we are. And if I look backwards on my path, like, on my journey, and I'm not talking about like the spiritual journey, like life itself. And it's like, yeah, wow, like it's been good. It's been quite challenging, but yeah, just always just yeah, to have an intention for something. Whenever we do that, like we have something that will be why are we moving this thing? Why are we? It's nice. Like, it will be like whatever for you, for somebody else, for Mother Earth.
Can you give us an example of an intention?
Like I don't know. I would say like whatever, like whenever like I go on my mat, because also sometimes like I'm there and I'm like, oh, here we go again, because we all have these days, and it's just like here we go again, and it's just like, where am I gonna get today? Am I gonna do like half primary? What kind of practice? And then it's like, yeah, because it just like switch off. And it's like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? It's like through the transformation that I've seen in myself, like my intention now is just like, I'm doing this because I know that it's a tool for self-knowledge, empowerment, and I don't care what they all do it around me. But for me, like it changed me to be a better version, like to say, in a way. So I believe like I do this spiritual practice because I believe we can be a better person, through it, through gaining that self knowledge, through go through all these processes that actually like a yoga practice will take you to,
Yeah.
Like it's not like the leader our brain knows that we all see it in Instagram. It's also about like, like meeting frustration some days, comparing yourself with others and like many more other things.
So
Then you will like get just like letting go of the things that like
So reminding yourself about why you're doing your practice. What is the purpose of it? And for many people, the purpose of these practices is to become more empowered, to be more connected, to experience a more peaceful life. And so to remember, have that intention. It's our intention if you could possibly.
And of course, and also being aware that intention can change.
Intention changes. As we evolve and grow, I agree.
Yeah, because I remember like 10 years ago, if you asked me, my intention was like just stand on my hands. But now, like then you go deeper into the process and like so many things happen in between.
The evolution.
And it becomes like more subtle as well,
More
subtle. It's not that
subtle.
superficial. Yeah,
I agree. Well, thank you so much, Jose. It's been a real pleasure speaking with you, and I'm really excited to be facilitating a retreat with you, the Mind, Body, Spirit Retreat, Detox Retreat on, I believe we're moving the date to June 17th? July 17th. July 17th. Where am I? I'm living in the past. Maybe we're doing another one next year. Maybe. July 17th till for 5 days. I can't do the math in my head right now. And we're going to be detoxifying the mind, body, and spirit so we can come into greater connection with ourselves and our truth. Caleb is going to be focusing primarily on the physical. Jose is going to be using yoga, helping us to detoxify the physical and the etheric. And I'll be helping you to detoxify your mind and your etheric body. Keeping in mind, we're an entire system. So when you implement change in one, you actually implement change in them all. And so we're going to be doing lots of different activities. We're going to be exploring Playa del Carmen a little bit, going to different places. We're going to be going to the beach. We're going to be going to the cenote. And we've got lots of fun things planned for you. So if you would like to know more information about Jose, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Oh, Instagram.
On
Instagram?
Through
there, like you can just like you click that link and get to me really easily.
Do you answer your DMs?
I do.
So I can slip into your DMs. Okay.
I do answer.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll put that link below. And of course, you can always email me at suryakrishna.healings@gmail.com for information about the retreat or anything else that Jose offers. I think that's it for now. So thank you very much for coming, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Detox Retreat.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.